Abby,
Hi,
nice to see you.
nice to see you too.
We're just having all of the, well, maybe we'll wait, but do you want to just introduce yourself? We have a handful of young people. We're making sure they know one another, and then we'll go ahead and introduce everyone one more time when we start.
So you want me to go ahead and introduce myself now?
Yeah,
Or
just say where you're from and kind of give that much, and then we'll go from there.
okay. Yeah, I'm Abby Casey and I'm from Burlington, Wyoming, but I'm a senior at the University of Wyoming, so I live in Laramie most of the year. So
Great. So Great. Well, it's 11:02. Let's go ahead and get started. Kate, I'll invite you to take the slide down. Um, and like I said, we'll have we'll have a group of students who are joining us from Laramie who will be here in a couple of minutes. They are just finishing up class, but we'll get started and welcome them in when they come. So first of all, welcome to our fourth of four Time to Thrive conversations. And I'm delighted that today we'll be able to hear from young people about their thoughts on the future of the state and their role in it. I'm Michelle Sullivan. I direct the Wyoming Enrichment Network. And we know at the Enrichment Network that learning happens everywhere. It doesn't happen just in school. And our commitment is to make sure that there is accessible, rich experiences for young people wherever they learn. And so we're delighted today to invite some young people to really talk about their experience and perspectives. Um, Today, so this series has really been about trying to connect and cultivate connections across communities in Wyoming to really better elevate the work we can all do to work better together. And today we're going to really talk about uh, how we might elevate young people's voices in local decision making. Um, what I'm going I'll kind of explain the flow for today, and then I'm going to invite our guests to introduce themselves. So we're going to have everyone introduce themselves, where they're from, and what organizations are in their out of school time that they are representing. And then we sent some questions ahead of time to young people, to our participants, for them to be able to think about. So I'll pose a couple of questions and then invite everyone to respond and give their perspectives. As much as we can, I would love it to be a conversation. So as as each of you hear from one another, if there's an opportunity for you to riff on each other, I'd love to see that happen as much as we can. And then hopefully at the end, we'll have a little bit of time for questions if others on the call want to pose a question or comment or resonate with anything that you've heard. So why don't I'm going to go ahead and just name the different squares, and I just invite you to say who you are, what year you are, and where you are, where you call home. So maybe Hung, I'll start with you since you're in the square next to me.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Hung. I am here at the Sheridan High School representing Sources of Strength, and I'm a freshman this
Great,
year.
welcome. Great. And then I see Maeve.
Hi, I'm Maeve. I'm from Little Snake River Valley High School in Bags, and I'm representing 4-H.
Awesome. And then Abby.
hi, I'm Abby Casey. I'm in Laramie, Wyoming most of the time, and I'm part of the Summer STEM Fellows program. I'm an alum, I guess, of that. So,
Great. And Ellie.
Hi, my name is Ellie, and I'm a freshman from Douglas High School, and I'm representing the STEM Next program.
Awesome. And let's see. Andy, maybe I'll invite you to introduce the students who are in the classroom there in Laramie.
Oh, yeah, I can move it in. Hold on.
Okay, no, hold on, let's get rid of this. Well, hello. Right, we've got a lot going on here. Yeah.
There we go.
Do you guys want to just,
Okay.
awesome. Do you guys want to just quick introduce yourselves?
Yeah, do you guys, Finn, will you start us?
Oh, sure. My name is Alexander. We're here at Laramie High School. I'm a junior. We're doing We the People. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
These are all our Be the People crew.
Are we gonna go around the circle?
Yeah, I'll go. So hi, my name is Aaron Schneider. I represent We the People. I'm at Laramie High School and I'm a senior.
Hello, my name is Nathan Schneider. I'm a junior and I represent We the People.
Hello, my name is Zora Layson. I'm here for We the People for Laramie High School.
Hello, I'm Poppy Alexander. I'm from Laramie High School and I'm here for We the People. I'm a Lou Panel, also from Laramie High School, also representing We the People, and I'm a senior.
My name's Boone Frood, here at Laramie High School, and I'm a junior.
Hi, I'm off camera, but I'm Kean Neely, and I'm
Great.
also.
I'm Conrad Konechny,
Awesome, great.
Laramie High, representing We the People.
I'm Kevin Perez. I'm a junior and we're representing We the People.
All right, did we get everybody? Awesome. So Allie, how would you like to go next after that?
Perfect. My name is Ollie Hayward. I am from Pinedale High School. I'm a senior and I'm representing Wyoming State 4-H.
Awesome. Great. Did I get everybody? Did I get everyone who's here as students? I think I did. Awesome. Well, welcome everybody. So you all were able to get a few of these questions ahead of time, and so we're going to start with one, and I would maybe I'll invite someone to hop in. I won't try to call you out, but the first question that we talked about is, we hear a lot from local and statewide leaders about the need to keep young people in Wyoming. What opportunities do you feel like you need to be able to contribute to your community in the future? What do you need to now that will help you think about the ways you contribute to your community, both now and in the future, in terms of skills and what you think you need? And Abby, one thing I was going to also invite you, just as you're thinking about this, you have had the opportunity also to be a near peer mentor to young people in Burlington and in the Bighorn Basin. So as you think about this question too, I'd love to also get your perspective on what you think in terms of your role as a sort of as a guide to other students as well. But would anybody like to start and think about, kind of share their perspective on that question? Let's see, maybe I'll.
I guess I can.
Sally,
I
awesome,
have,
great.
Sally. So whenever I was thinking about this, I guess in Pinedale at least, I feel like we don't really have the opportunity to share our opinions and knowledge as well as we could. So I think this could happen within county meetings, maybe through 4-H, whether that's through 4-H or FFA or our county commissioner meetings or just mayoral meetings in general or school board meetings. And I just feel if we could get our opinions out there as youth, then we may be able to change some things in our community.
That's fantastic. Thanks. Like, does anybody have any kind of response to that or additions? Hung, you want to go ahead and respond?
I can add on to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that a lot of young people want to stay in Wyoming or at least come back after college, but we don't always see a clear path for how that is supposed to happen or to work out. Right now, we need earlier access to real opportunities, not just after we graduate high school. There should be more ways to get access to more internships, job shadowing, or mentorship for middle school and high school students, especially in the fields like healthcare, engineering, education, or even business, right? People say that starting early is key, and students know this, but they can't when there aren't any opportunities for them to do so. If we feel invested right now, we're more likely to invest back into Wyoming's future later.
Great, thanks for that. Abby, see you nodding. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think providing those opportunities at younger ages for people and like bringing, I think for me, like as someone who has gone back and done stuff throughout my college career in during the summers, bringing like maybe some more opportunities in for like summer school students, I think it's just really important that they have those opportunities sooner because like even then they'll have that's where the connections will be. Like if someone is shadowed at a hospital in Cody, for instance, like that's where their connections are going to be and that's where they're going to want to come back to in the future and work. And so I think providing those opportunities and doing just finding ways for all students to have those opportunities regardless of like what rural area of the state they're in or what like more populated area they're in.
That's great. I'm curious, either Ellie or Maeve, just coming from, Ellie, you mentioned this just in terms of trying to make those connections. Does that resonate for you or thoughts that you have related to that?
Yes, ma'am. I think connections, like they say, connections like you make you who you are, kind of. And I feel like the more connections that you have,
Mhm.
you're gonna be better off. And as if we make those
Yeah,
connections while we're younger and we put ourselves out there, we're gonna do better as we get older. And if we have those connections within our community, those will go throughout the state. And I think whenever that we have those connections, it's going to help us no matter where we are.
yeah, great. Um, I'm looking to maybe the We the People students. Any things that are resonating or additions in terms of what's happening there? I know we were going to invite one of you to kind of represent the group and maybe make some comments, but would love your thoughts. Oh, we're working on it.
There you go. Okay, sorry, we were having a little mic issue, but we have Finn Alexander who had, I think, a unique perspective on this.
So I've only been back in the country for a little bit now. For 2 years, I lived in New Zealand in Christchurch on the South Island. And one thing that I've kind of noticed coming back here, because I lived here originally, and then we came back, is there's nothing to do. As in one thing that I loved there was this annual like kite festival where the city would come together on to meet all like fly kites. It was pretty basic, but it was just like something that kind of I feel like it's less of a problem of job opportunities and more of a problem of the fact that there's no reason to stay in the state. You know, there's so much other stuff in other states to go visit and explore.
Does anybody else want
I think that also, especially in some of the like larger states in Wyoming, it's very hard to build a community. And with there not being many other things to do besides read, it's harder to reason coming back to Wyoming or staying in Wyoming.
So hold that thought, and I want to invite Ellie Tomlinson. You talked a little bit about this when we had a little pre-meeting in terms of those connections with those interconnections. Is this resonating, or do you have what thoughts do you have as you think about what you just heard from your colleagues?
Um, I so here at the Boys and Girls Club, I feel like with you guys thinking of giving the chance for kids to have and youth having their voices heard, I feel like we need more places like the Boys and Girls Club because here I was chosen for Junior Youth of the Year last year, so I was able to talk to people around the state for the Boys and Girls Club. And like this place, we're allowed, our voices are heard. And with the STEM Next along with that, um, I got the chance to speak to state legislators, like the First Lady, and me and her talked more about like the help we need here. And like we feel like we need more places like this and activities to do.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Ellie. Maybe as someone from Bags and also involved in 4-H, how is this resonating with you, and what thoughts do you have in terms of how we really develop opportunities for you now to contribute to communities later?
I think that for the job aspect of it and the mentorships and career readiness, it's a lot harder in such a small community like Bags because we do have the lawyers and the engineers, but their companies or where they work might not be big enough to somehow integrate someone in high school or middle school to help them and like teach them. And I think with the like not having anything to do within Wyoming is also very true because if I say I wanted to go hang out with one of my friends, it would be okay, let's go drive around. And because we have a park or the school, but so that's another opportunity that my school is really good about is that if like on the weekends or after school, after practice, kids want to come in and have something to do, they can come into the school and play in the gym, play basketball or work out or whatever, and it's open. And the admin are really good about making sure that the kids within our community have a safe place to hang out and know that they're not getting into trouble.
That's great. Thanks for that. So just kind of as we think about just both the connection to legislators, to county commissioners, and also kind of how we make those connections to experiences and relationships as Abby and Hung talked about. What strengths do you think you as young people have that can really make a difference in local decision making as you think about, this question of things to do? What strengths do you think you bring to that where that we could be really paying attention to that could make a difference in these communities for the future? And maybe maybe I'll start with our We the People group, and then we'll kind of lean out from there, if that makes sense. There we go.
I think that the most important thing that us young people have that perhaps maybe older generations don't is maybe ambition. And I think that's true for all younger generations, is we can adequately see 20 or 30 years into the future. Whereas it might be a little harder to do that if you've already had 40 years of experience behind you, and you're looking back on what you've done and what you've achieved instead of looking forward. So I think that us young people have a lot more opportunity to see 30 years into the future and see what Wyoming can become versus what Wyoming already has become.
I heard Lou mention the other day about relevance as well. Do you want to talk about that sometimes young people help keep older generations relevant? Like there's a gap there sometimes. Do you want to talk about relevance?
Yeah, I think what I was trying to talk about there was the huge growth in social media influence, especially among young people and in our communities and in the world, and just the global influence of that. Almost every teenager or young person has some form of social media, and so you have these connections and you know what's happening all the time within an instant. So I think that is a really strong point. And I think that social media also is a way to persuade people. So if you had a certain thing that you were advocating for and you wanted to get done, you could reach a bunch of different people and a target group of people. And so that can be really useful for really anything.
And I think we had one more comment maybe before we go.
I think also like
Sure, please.
One thing with perspective that younger people can bring is kind of like a boots on the ground effect. Like once you get into, later parts of your life, you're very focused on your own things, what you're doing, your job, your kids, stuff like that. Whereas when you're younger, you have the advantage of not having to worry as much about that. And so you're more focused on your life experience and the things that you're doing, the friends you're hanging out with, how you participate in your community and stuff like that. So I think you have a more clear understanding of what's going on within your own life, essentially. And I think that you can transfer that.
Great. I really appreciate that, and kind of the breadth. Does that resonate with others? I'm looking at Allie. You look like you're nodding and interested in your perspective there.
I agree with what they're saying so much. I think that like the ambition, and I also think we have a lot of energy as young people. Like, and I know that like I don't know if that makes any sense. Let me put it in just perspective. Um, I feel like old people, like what the people were saying, they're looking back on what's happened in the past. Whereas we, as young people, can look towards the future, and we can look towards the future with ambition and energy. And not only because we have that ambition, we can use that energy to put our foot forward and make these things happen. But I think that we need to be able to put those words somewhere and that ambition somewhere. And yeah, but I think we have like energy and ambition, and that's something that we have as young
Thanks,
people.
Hung. Thank you for that, Abby. I can concur. Hung, you looked like you were nodding and kind of resonating with that. Is that kind of hitting a vein?
Oh yeah. So what I think nowadays is that give me a second. So let's see. Um, sorry about that. I think one of our
No
biggest
worries.
strengths is that we see things as they're actually happening. We experience the school system, mental health challenges, and social pressures, so we know what's working and what isn't. Also, another big strength that we have is, especially with the advancement in technology nowadays, are the skills of problem solving and adapting. We tend to be more open-minded and are willing to listen to different perspectives, which would be great for statewide issues that would need to be brought to our attention.
That's great. Thank you for that. And I love that, kind of thinking about how those qualities and skills that each of you have, just because of where you are in your development too, can be a huge contribution to how we're thinking about what's working and what's not working. I'm wondering, Maeve, I see a little nod there from you. Is that resonating for you or other perspectives that you're thinking about?
I really agree with everything that everyone has been saying about the strengths, and I think the energy and ambition are really important. And another thing that we have is time. Is so people, legislators that are in their 50s or 60s may not have as much longer that they can have the time to put in to trying to get what they're trying to do done. And I think
Mhm.
that like if someone a young person has an idea when they are younger in high school or even like early college, they can get that ball rolling and we have enough time to set it into action. And by the time that like we're adults, that's something that can help us succeed when we're in our adulthood.
That's awesome. Abby, from your perspective, both, Andy, did somebody have a riff?
Got a young man, Boone, who's got a comment related.
Yeah,
Okay, please.
just another perspective is the future of Wyoming. Like this investment is worth it. As we look at Wyoming, yeah, a very the age gap is pretty big, and we're actually losing people. I believe the state is declining in population, especially as we have a very like an older population.
Yeah.
So an investment is needed in the kids and youth of Wyoming to even keep Wyoming around and keep it growing and thriving. Because if we look at our current trajectory, we're getting smaller right now. So we need some sort of investment to get young people to stay in Wyoming and keep Wyoming growing. So I think it's very worth it to invest in the young kids now because they're the
That's
future.
And I mean, sorry, I'll come up from behind the computer. I would say that Wyoming is pretty, I guess, not renowned. I remember going to like a water park once, and we told the person at the front, like, hey, yeah, we're from Wyoming. She's like, no, you're not. No, you're not.
Wyoming isn't
Like,
yeah.
and it's kind of,
Wyoming is real.
yeah.
Yeah. So and I'm thinking, Abby, as a person who's from the Bighorn Basin, which is very much a place where you might see that aging population. I'm curious if what perspectives in terms of what you've just heard from your colleagues in Laramie, you see in terms of those strengths and how you can add to the vibrance of that part of the state.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to hear from like the Laramie community actually, because as someone from the Bighorn Basin, I think I have nothing to do there, and I went to Laramie and I was like, there's so much to do here compared to like my hometown. Um, but I think yeah, like the population is aging, and I think like the thing for me that like I really wanted in high school was a voice and people to like listen to me more, and even now that I'm in college, like I want that. But I think giving opportunities for that voice is really hard a lot of times for a lot of older individuals in this state. Like it can be hard for them, especially in like I'm in a town of 300 people. Everyone's known everyone since like, and they've lived there their entire lives. It's hard when you live in a town that small to change people's opinions or like accept new ones or hear like different ideas for growth. And so like figuring out how to like create those relationships and those safe spaces for younger individuals to come and then be able to interact with these older individuals and share their opinions in like a productive way instead of it just like being like getting shot down left and right, if that makes
Yeah.
any sense.
Abby, as you were talking, what was coming through my mind is to a certain extent, sometimes I think we think, well, we've got to develop these skills in young people. And in honestly, from my perspective, one of the goals I think we have at the Wyoming Enrichment Network is to recognize that adults oftentimes need a set of skills that because it can be just as scary for adults to try to make that space and be their best selves for young people. And Ellie Tomlinson, I'm wondering, you mentioned the Boys and Girls Club and how that has been a space where you've had the opportunity to have your voice heard. What do you think um, some of those skills are that have made that possible, or the things that are happening there and make that possible that you see?
Um, so here at the club, um, the kids is basically what runs this. Like this is like their second home since their parents work all day and they don't get to go home after school and like hang out with family. They get to come here. So like the staff, they listen to us and give us the opportunity, like, oh, something's going on. So they make us comfortable with this stuff. Like 4 years ago, I couldn't, I wouldn't be doing this. I didn't go to club 4 years ago. I was quiet. I didn't like to talk. So when I came here, Miss Joey, the original CEO, like talked to me about this stuff. I opened up. Like she gave me these chances to go to like RILA, that's Younger Youth Leadership Awards. That place also gave me the confidence to do stuff. The first thing we did was grab on each other's shoulders and sit in each other's laps to keep balance. We didn't know anyone there. So that like that opened my comfort bubble. I'm able to talk now and the club gave this to me. So STEM Next is also another thing I feel my voice is heard because during those meetings, I get to tell about my project and I'm teaching the kids here about animation, one thing I really like to do.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Ellie. Well, yeah, we love that. And it's been so fun for me to be able to watch, yes, young people kind of grow and be kind of gain that confidence. Maeve, I'm curious, like, is it as you think about your role in 4-H, does that resonate and how has your leadership or skill development changed as you think about kind of the work you've done in that context?
I think about in terms of 4-H. So Allie and I were on the state leadership team together last year. And I think that's like we were talking about connections earlier, and that was a way we made so many connections. And one thing that our team really wanted to do was try to find a way to make allow other 4-H members throughout the state to also make the connections we were able to make as state 4-H members. Um, I feel like sometimes kids don't take the opportunities as much as they should, and there are some that take all of the opportunities they can. Like on the state 4-H team, we were able to go on a national trip to the National 4-H conference, and that was open to any 4-H member in the state, but only members of the team went. And I feel that if we do better at trying to get some kids to go out and make connections just because, and it doesn't have to be just because they're not on the state 4-H team doesn't mean they can't take those opportunities.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Maeve. And I'm curious, just from the also from the We the People's. I mean, you all through your We the People work uh, have I think if I'm looking at my own kids, developed some skills. What kinds of things do you think that experience has helped you grow, and what do you want to take from it? Sorry, I'm kind of riffing a little bit.
That's okay. We're talking about what skills can you gain from We the People that might be able to translate going forward.
Yeah, or what do you feel? What skills do you think that have been developed that you're surprised by even?
I thought that there was a lot of understanding of how government functions that I gained from it, which was really interesting. Beforehand, I didn't have a great comprehension of it. And I think through having to learn for that and the kind of community and everything that's there, I learned more about that. And then also with like public speaking, personally, I've never had tons of issues with public speaking, but it definitely did push you to go out of that comfort zone to be better at public speaking and kind of realize that if you want government to work the way you want it to, you're going to have to take action. And sometimes it might be uncomfortable, but you're going to have to do that.
Anybody want to build on that?
Yeah.
I
Awesome.
To add on to the public speaking
Go
part,
ahead.
yeah, we have these judges that come in that are leaders across Wyoming, and so it can sometimes be intimidating. I know when I did it, I had a Supreme Court justice as one of my judges. So when you get asked about these court cases that like you're supposed to know and be on top of, I think it gives you the confidence in like your own learning, but then also confidence in being able to portray what you learned and then verbalize it to these people that obviously know more than you, but it's kind of like showing that you know it as well.
That's fantastic. Great.
We,
Well, so let's shift a little bit. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Just a very quick
Go
moment.
ahead.
The Cody kids were going to join us. What was really neat from my perspective is I watched the Cody We the People kids walk out of their simulated congressional hearing and walk directly all the way upstairs to the Joint Appropriations Committee to give a live hearing, like an actual hearing about a little bit of money that the state gives towards the We the People program. So it was absolutely the real deal to watch them go from the simulated to the actual and not feel overwhelmed by that and to actually kind of enjoy being heard from. So I think they've got the literacy skills and the confidence and the and basically the ability to speak in public, which I think, the kids in here have spoke about that public speaking aspect is a real thing. So anyway, thanks for letting us have a chance to share our voice here today, Michelle.
Thanks. So in thinking about sharing your voice, one thing Hung, I'm gonna just give you fair warning that I'm gonna start with you, but I'd really be interested from each of you to talk a little bit about what questions do you wish adults were asking you, uh, and asking young people in Wyoming as you think about that. So I'll give Hung a minute, but then maybe each of you think about that, and we'll just go around and hear from each of you about what questions you wish adults were asking of young people in the state.
One of the biggest questions I would ask, well, yeah, one of the biggest questions would be, what challenges are you facing that adults might not see? I want adults to like be in our shoes and feel what we feel because it's not always the same from our perspective or their perspective.
Thank you for that. That was well said. Who would like to who would like to follow? Anybody? I'm can only see a portion of you. So if there's somebody who wants to come off mute. Oh, I see the Laramie group's off mute. Go ahead, guys.
I would just like to say that I've heard a lot today about how there's nothing to do in Wyoming, and while I see that might be kind of true in the city propers, I think Wyoming has some of the most pristine wilderness and most amazing natural wonders in the entire nation and entire world. So I think that a question that maybe adults should be asking and us we should be asking is how can we better manage our natural areas and our wildlife and our and Yellowstone and all those different places. I think that's a huge question for Wyoming because it's such a big part of our identity. And so I think that we need to put our best foot forward when it comes to managing natural resources, especially in Wyoming, and especially dealing with all of these oil and all the resources that we have in the state.
And not only that, but like not only like managing them better, but also having better access to them. Like, I mean, Yellowstone's beautiful, but I've only been there twice, and I know tons of people who have never even been to Yellowstone. And it's like one of those few things that's really, really cool in this state.
Okay, well, one of the, you know, you get what I mean, you get what I mean, you get what I mean. I'd like to add on that things such as like Nordic skiing or even alpine skiing, for example, like we have a lot of those resources that are there, especially with high school. We have 3 Nordic skiers right here. You have a lot of those resources already there, but it's about whether or not can we expand upon those, that we can use what we have already to make it more attractive to younger people to stay here.
That's great. Well, and what I hear in that too, actually, it's kind of to Hunk's point too, is like, what is it by really understanding your experience and what you love and thinking about how you keep those things for the future. I love that kind of making sure that we're asking that of adults. I see, Maeve, questions that you wished that that adults were asking young people in the state.
I I really would like to see people being asked like what does success look like for us, and not just like financially but like socially and with our friends, and how they can support us in those ways, helping us get to college, meet new people, make connections for our future, and like how we can do better being successful after college and in our adulthood.
Great. That success might not look the same for young people now as adults might think it needs to look. Abby, I'm wondering, just from your perspective too, or Allie, actually, Allie, just as our other 4-H representative, what questions do you wish you were hearing adults ask from your part of the world?
Okay, I have two. I want to bounce off the we the people. Um, Um, like being in Nordic skiing also, like I feel like Sublette County and Pinedale specifically, uh, they do such a good job of like getting people out in the community during the wintertime, during the summertime. Like we have so many opportunities. We have like winter carnivals and all kinds of things that like get us out into the community, get us out in the natural world. So I think that's like, but adults could also like ask, how can we help you to get more out into the natural world? My other question that I think adults should be asking is how connected do you feel to your local community? Personally, I feel super connected to my local community, but I know that a lot of people in my school district don't feel connected to our local community because they don't get out there and adults don't ask them, hey, would you like to come and join in on these things? So I feel like if they asked how connected do you feel to your local community, that could be a really big way that they can get out into our community.
That's great. Thanks for that, Ellie. Uh, Ellie Tomlinson or Abby, I don't want to put either one of you on the spot, but thoughts about questions that you wish adults were asking? Ellie?
I would want like an adult to personally ask what my opinion was on things. Because like based on the thing of having nothing to do in Wyoming, I would like want a child's perspective of, oh, they have more creativity. They would think of what they would find fun or what they would find interesting to do with friends on their time off and something to get out there like we're talking about. So then they're not just cramped inside their house staring at an electronic. They will have something, oh, I can go hang out with friends and I can go find more things to do than just sit down all day.
That's great. Thanks, Ellie. And Abby, just I'm thinking about you both as your own lived experience, but also as a near peer, having really given young people a little bit of a choice and listen to them. I'd love your perspective on what you think, both from yourself, but also some of your students that you've worked with.
Well, I think for me, like it was just always about like the opportunities. Like I wish someone would have just asked me what opportunities I wanted in high school, like to kind of start that career exploration a little bit earlier than I was able to. And I think for like the students that I've worked with, for me, it's just been about like opening it up so that they can like feel like they can tell me anything, they can ask me anything, they can request anything, um, and that their opinions are valid in that space. I think like having like I have the unique experience as like a near peer mentor of I'm like not so far removed that I can be like a safe space or feel like I'm a little bit closer to their age. And so I think we need to provide those spaces, even if it is like getting more like high school and college age kids into schools and having like us sit with like those elementary, even in middle school students and hearing their opinions and letting them express their emotions and everything so that as they get older that they can continue to build those relationships with like older and older people and grow in those abilities to be able to express their opinions even when like it might not always be like someone who's super safe to say those to, if that makes sense, so that they can grow in those abilities to be able to
Yeah,
express their opinions in the future.
that's fantastic. Thanks, Abby. So one more question, and then we'll open it up for others if others have a perspective or kind of opinion. Uh, as you think about your own experience and where each of you are sitting in different contexts and different situations. How would you like to be involved in local decision making, and what help do you need from adults to do that more effectively? And maybe I'll start. We'll start with Allie, and then go to We the People, and then kind of go from there. Allie, does that?
Yes, ma'am. Um, so to start off, I guess like getting the youth out in communities more. I already said that a little bit, but just as a whole, getting the youth out in the community more. We could do this through like maybe being involved in like having a little segment of maybe county commissioner meetings, like monthly county commissioner meetings, or maybe the school board meetings. Like, hey, how can our youth help and like what are your opinions on the subjects that we are talking about? And I think just through this, through getting our youth out in the communities more, it's going to help us to get our opinions out there. And yeah.
That's great. Thanks, Ellie. Are We the People students? Does that resonate? What do you after your experiences, how do you want to be more involved, and what do you need from adults to help you do that more effectively?
I'll just say real quick, we were having a conversation a little bit because something came up, but the idea being that we had heard that in other communities they had kids on the school board, that if you were a high school kid, you could there could be a spot for high school kids on the school board. We also talked about the idea of trying to lower the voting age in local elections, that if could you get 16-year-olds to be able to vote in local elections. What else were we talking about? We were talking about just the role of schools. Like, do schools give kids enough opportunity to make some decisions? We were talking about at Laramie High School, the student government does have quite a bit of money that they get to they have some resources dedicated to them that they have to make some decisions with. And we kind of like that idea. We weren't sure if that was happening across schools in Wyoming, that do the student councils have any real power? Like, do they have any money is really what it comes down to. And so can you find ways to participate in budgeting, like, and spending the money? Like, do the kids actually get to make some decisions on that?
Interesting. Anything? Hung, I'm thinking about you as the sources of strength in your terms of your leadership, and just curious if, as you're thinking about engagement, if any of this is resonating for you.
Yeah, similar to what Allie and We the People said, I like to be more involved in ways that are meaningful and actually make a difference to the community. But I feel like adults need to stop assuming that we're too young to contribute. I've seen many leaders out there who are willing to give to the community. However, some people think that that they're too young, which makes it hard for bright students to make a difference. Other than that, it would be great for us to get the opportunity to serve as a youth member on school boards, city councils, or nonprofits. As for me, uh, I've been with the CVC, the Center for a Vital Community. It is a nonprofit in Sheridan that is like dedicated to civic growth and leadership. And I've been on the board for almost a year now, serving as a youth board member. And just being in that position exposes me to like the culture of leadership and just prompting me to just be an overall leader. Um, so it's not bad at all to stand up for what you want. And how can adults help us achieve this, right? I feel like what we need most from adults is the access to resources and encouragement, someone to open the door and just take us seriously when we need help.
Thanks, Hung. Uh, Abby, I'm curious from your perspective if any of this is resonating as now a little bit of an older near peer as you think about your own experience.
I think for me, yeah, I agree with a lot of what's been said. I think a lot of it for me is giving people a voice as soon as they from a very, very young age. Like I have mentioned before to certain in certain arenas that like before I was like a near peer educator and working with like middle schoolers, I kind of underestimated what like really middle schoolers could do. Even I was just there. Middle school doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but like I underestimated them. And so I think like not underestimating our youth in Wyoming and letting them have voices young. Let them express their opinions young and teach them how to express their voices appropriately young, and providing opportunities for them to do that. Because I think like the biggest thing in all of this is if we're just making sure we provide opportunities for students to express their opinions, even in elementary school, then like and providing those opportunities and resources for them, then we'll be able to like things will work out. Like everything will be where it needs to be. But providing those opportunities young and like working with students when they're young.
Thanks for that, Ab. Ellie, also as a near peer educator and someone who is actually teaching younger students, what do you what's resonating for you as you hear your colleagues?
I agree on like with underestimating them because like I know I'm only in high school, but like I've seen that some kids are pushed down and pushed away because they can't have their voice heard. But like here at Club with Junior Youth of the Year and Youth of the Year, we have that head start of, oh, our voices can be heard, which leads you to actually going out. And then like with student council and all of that stuff, their voices can truly be heard from a young start. Like their star groups are kindergartners, and we still allow them to state their opinion and all that stuff.
Great. Thank you for that. Maeve, how about for you in terms of uh, how you'd like to be involved and what help you would need to do it more effectively?
I think that in my community, we're really fortunate and blessed. The combination of our school organizations and 4-H and our other kind of outside um, groups that people are a part of, we're really involved in pretty much anything that we can be involved in. And I feel like we also have, starting next semester, we're going to have a student council member as a school board liaison. So she'll sit in on
All
those
right.
meetings and things. But I feel like sometimes that adults keep expecting us to do more and more. And we want to have a voice, but we also need to be given time to just be kids also. What I'm trying to say is like we need the pathways to be able to express ourselves and our opinions, but maybe we don't always need a seat at a table, just some way to express what our opinion and people willing to listen to us.
That's great. Thank you for that, Maeve. Anybody who have any response or kind of want to riff or respond to your colleagues? Awesome. And I guess I would I want to invite anyone who's listening, if you have a question or a comment, just to feel free to come off mute or um, come onto the screen and uh, make yourselves known. And I should tell you, by the way, our Laramie students had to hop off because they were about to start a lockdown drill at Laramie High School. So they had to sign off. And we are just about out of time. I want to just give everybody an opportunity. Is there anyone who would like to make a final comment or kind of a response or kind of reaction to anything you've heard from your uh, fellow colleagues? I see Diana, you just came onto the screen. Do you have a comment that you'd like to make, Diana?
Thank you, Michelle. I'm Diana Clapp, coordinator for the Wyoming State Board of Education, and just want to say thank you for letting me be a fly on the wall today and listen in. I took a lot of notes, and we'll get back with you, Michelle, and would love to hear more voices make it to the State Board of Education's ears, so how we might strategically help that to happen.
That's awesome. And I see a note here from Mary Louise Wood. Some of you know Mary Louise, but she said her mic isn't working, but she wanted to say how amazing it was to listen. And Laura, I see you come off mute. Did you have a comment that you'd like to make?
I just had a really quick question. Thank you guys all. This was like such a wonderful opportunity to listen in. But I work for the Sweetwater County Museum down in Green River, and I would like to start hosting public events catered towards young people in our community, especially like middle and high school, because there isn't a lot of opportunities in Green River and Rock Springs for that. Where would I market to your age group? Like, obviously not Facebook. Would you find events on Instagram? Would you find them on flyers at your high schools? How do I market to you? How do I get you to come see me?
Okay, so
I
like
see
at our
Alex come.
school, our school, like you can talk to the principal and he'll like announce it. But also just like flyers, I feel like are really good. I look at flyers. And then Instagram too. You can also just like send the flyer to the principal. And like our school has, in Pinedale, we have like a school Instagram page. And I don't know. Yeah.
Thank you, Allie.
Cool.
I feel like
Other
another thing
suggestions for Laura?
I feel like another thing that'd be really good is, um, like find a couple kids that like you do know or that are already like kind of interested in your events and like make sure that they share it because once they're sharing it and they're sharing it with their friends, being like, well, if you come, then you can get these people to come, and then it's kind of the word of mouth thing. And just as soon as you have a couple kids interested, they'll start pulling in all of their friends.
Perfect. Thank you, Maeve.
Awesome. And anybody else? Awesome. Well, I know where I'm going to get good advice in terms of how we start to think about sharing and communicating out. Appreciate that very, very much. Thanks. Well, we're just about out of time. I just want to say thank you to everyone who's participated in the conversation and who has also been here to listen. Just so you know, part of what we've been trying to do with these conversations, we have a small group of people here who are listening, but we also have Aria Heinemann, who you can see her picture there as in one of the squares, is a young journalist from Sheridan, who's been an intern here with the Sheridan Press this semester. She's been writing syntheses of these conversations for us, and we're sharing them broadly across the state with other leaders and with our partners. We also we've recorded this and we'll have it up on our website along with sharing it with leaders and making sure that this is really a curated beginning to the conversation where we can continue to elevate young people's voices over the course of the year as part of our Time to Thrive campaign. And one thing I would also invite each of you to do is to help us to continue to improve this. So if there are ways that you see that we could have done things differently or things that you would like to do again, we would love to know about that and figure out how we can really help facilitate this more as we continue on. Just deeply grateful to each of you, and thank you for being with us today. All right. Thanks, everybody. And
thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, Michelle.
Bye, hon.